Now, my next guest has written a children's book looking at combating climate change to coincide with the start of COP26, which is a good thing because he explains in all his other books quite sort of complex things in very easy to understand terms. So maybe a children's book, but I think we should all read it probably because it just makes more sense. It's Up to Us has been made in collaboration with Prince Charles and his Terra Carta Foundation, and Chris joins us now. It's really good to see you this morning. Explain to us, Chris, what you've tried to lay out in this book.
Well, thank you, Stephen. The book is all about trying to engage young people in climate change, as well as their parents and their siblings and others in their families, by telling the story in a really powerful way through 33 different artists from around the world. So the whole spirit of Prince Charles's Terra Carta was to say we need a new treaty, a new pledge with the planet, and we need to engage people from all over the world in this enterprise. No one country, no one culture can solve this problem. So when I heard about this, I thought, let's do a children's book. Let's not just aim this at business leaders and at politicians. Let's aim this at young people, because they've got the most to gain and the most to lose. And there wasn't very much time to do this book to make it come out in time for COP. So we decided to spread out the task of illustrating it to as many illustrators from around the world as possible. And I think that has enriched the whole story so much. You know, it's an absolute thrill to see it come out in print.
I mean, one of the things you do so well, I know from when we've talked before, is that you take issues and you approach them from a slightly different perspective, which seems very strange, but when you do it, suddenly it all clicks in your brain. Have you been able to apply that to this?
Well, I hope so, very much. I mean, I always love zooming out, because I think then when you zoom out, you can see the context of things. And it doesn't matter, you know, what your own individual perspective is. You can appreciate and empathize with other people when you sort of take the big view. So the strapline for Prince Charles's Terra Carta was, and in fact for the book, is a children's Terra Carta, a treaty with nature, people and planet. And actually, that really works really well, because nature allows us to see the story of the natural world when there were no people. How does it operate? And then we look at people and what harm they've done, particularly in recent generations, to upset the harmony and the balance of nature. And then finally, what's the effect of that on the planet? And of course, that's where the climate change issues really come in, with desertification, with flooding, and with human migration. And finally, the last part are these new pledges, the Terra Carta, told in a really simple, illustrative way so that anybody can understand as to the things we need to do together to try and solve the problem.
Yeah. As I said before, you're a man who's tackled many things. What then, if I throw at you I mean, I like the premise of nature, man, and how we've sort of changed what is going on the planet, but we are part of nature as well, aren't we? How do we tie all that in?
Well, that's a very good point. In fact, in the foreword that Prince Charles has written in the book here, and that is absolutely his first point, he said that children have a unique curiosity for nature and this amazing planet we call home. That is because part of being young is knowing that we are, in fact, part of nature ourselves. And anybody who's been following Prince Charles over the last 40 years will know he has been a tireless crusader for the idea of harmony and nature, and getting people to appreciate that we are nature, and that the more we think we're separate and apart and we try and keep nature at a distance, the bigger the problem. And I think children are born, as he says, with this innate sense of connection with nature. And of course, if they're being brought up in a very built environment, or they're being brought up in a way that doesn't allow them to have contact with nature, then we lose that sensitivity to the natural world. And I think that's at the heart of the problem, really. So really, it's a call to action to parents and teachers and all the adults in children's lives to try and give them a chance to embrace nature as young people and feel that connection. And then we will feel that sense of urgency to make sure that we play our part within nature rather than against it.
Chris, it's really good to talk to you this morning. Thank you very much indeed.